Alone, alone, all alone, lost in the loneliness of the crowd. The masses abound, totally alone. You talk, you yell, you roar, you cry out loud, louder, louder, to no avail. Alone, alone, all alone, lost in the loneliness of the crowd. Since history, there's always been people with disabilities, and they've always been categorised different to them. Us are different to them.
I think it's that word, disability. I think it needs to be changed. Disability immediately makes you think a little differently.
We live in a culture which values sportsmanship and strong bodies and healthy bodies, and so we tend to label people who don't measure up to that as being of less value in some way.
I find it really difficult, the word disability, because I think that we're just people.
When did you sort of feel that, you move from the world of an able-bodied person to a disabled person?
Almost instantly, because labels were put on me, and once I was labelled with MS, I was labelled as having a disability and therefore not allowed to function in a so-called normal society.
My son who has autism doesn't really, just walking down the street, look like anyone who has a disability.
Well, to start off with, when I was diagnosed with MS, I lost my job.
Try as harder as we may, I think we just don't get a shot.
You just feel that emptiness inside you. You don't know what else you can do to become so-called whole again, become one of them, I suppose. It's society that makes us disabled. To you or me, I'm normal. To them, because I have difficulty or you have difficulty doing something, we are disabled.
I think the divide comes from people being quite ignorant about what other people's experiences are.
I find that in certain situations people will not talk to the person in the wheelchair, which is me, and talk to my carer, the person pushing.
There's fear of encountering somebody with disabilities. There may be stereotypes in their minds that a person will act a certain way or they will behave a certain way.
Essentially, we're all manipulated by the advertising industry, aren't we? Now, there's this ideal person out there that's planted in our minds, and we're buying clothes and cars and food and everything to make us more like that ideal person. Probably 90% of the population at my age wears glasses. We suddenly decide, well, that's okay, that's not disabled. But if you're missing both legs, there's only 0.5% of people who are without a limb. Therefore, that's different.
People are baffled by someone with who has a disability, and in order to help overcome their bafflement, they like to put logical labels on them, and that makes them easier to understand something that seems wild and tragic.
And teacher didn't have time for me, more or less, to teach me, so they had time for the other kids, but it's sort of like that I got pushed aside.
There's a very large lack of understanding in the so-called normal community because they don't see it, so it doesn't cross their mind.
I think fear, it's the unknown. people who've not experienced people who might be a little bit different before.
That there is somehow a view of people that says, if you are like this, you're okay, but if you're like that, you're not okay. And at the moment, we kind of like to box people.
We tend to try to sort of push them away into a little corner where they're not going to annoy me or get in my way. And so we don't engage.
Society does that so they can understand people better, but it totally divides them up even further.
Now thinking about it, the only time that I really felt socially different than everybody else when I was at university, and the lecturers or the staff had difficulty dealing with the situations they found themselves in.
Oh, well, the teacher said to me that I couldn't learn anything. I couldn't learn how to write my own name or like that.
Keep going there. How did it make you feel when the teacher said that?
It was sad.
And therefore I became disabled. I've learned that we've got to get our message out to the general public. Let people know that people with disability are so-called normal.
It's us as a culture saying, hey, we just have to be people who see it's what's in the heart. It's the image of God in us. It's the personality and the person we are that is most important, not the way in which that is carried in the world.
So, you know, what the key is that you come to that person's level by empathy. Well, sort of knowing that you could be in that situation yourself.
Because when you look at people with a heart, you'll find they're all the same. Everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be valued, and everybody wants a place.
It's just taking the time to be real people for each other in every ways we can. I think when we become persons again, then a lot of stuff that we call disability disappears.